Welcome everybody to the start of a new Let's Play series. We're going to be playing Age of Wonders Planetfall again, and this time I'm going to be doing something different. This is something I don't have a lot of experience with, but I'm very excited to get started in. This is the My Galactic Empire, which is a new way to play the game that's come out with the Star Kings DLC. Now I realize that this DLC isn't exactly new at this point because it's been out for a couple months or so, maybe a little longer. But for me, I've only kind of dip my toes in the water with this expansion, so to speak. I've played the Oathbound, and they are absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen my other series, when the game first came out, I immediately started recording Oathbound because it was so fun, and it's such a great time with the new faction. These giant battle suits, really fun to play with, very thematic and very cool. But the other thing that they added with that expansion is the My Galactic Empire. When you play Age of Wonders Planetfall, like a lot of the other Age of Wonders games, you can either play a campaign, and you can see that there's actually campaigns that come with the base game. There's a campaign for Revelations. Whoops, I didn't actually mean to start this. There's a campaign for Invasions, and then there's a campaign with the Star Kings. And there's quite a bit of content in these, and even the maps for these campaign missions are actually, for the most part, randomly generated. There are some scripted things, of course, because it's a campaign, but even the maps are actually randomly generated, so that's very cool. So you can play the campaigns. You can also just play a random planet. So you can just get a different, a regular world like this, or you can pick the different sort of themed worlds, and then you can switch around all sorts of stuff like the player number, the game intensity, what the land mass is like if you want sort of like lots of water or no water at all. And then in the advanced setup, you can change all sorts of cool stuff like the game flow, so you can say like how many resources are there? Do we start with extra units? How many NPC factions are there? Are the spawners aggressively spawning monsters to come attack you, or are they weaker than usual? Are defenders, are the groups of monsters in locations, are they stronger or weaker than usual? Is there going to be an invasion, which is something that came out with the Invasions DLC, which is a very fun aspect about this game, is the invasions. And all sorts of other things like how do you want to win the game? How many heroes can you have? You can even impact the world settings. You can change things like how many landmarks are there? What percentage of things do you want? Do you want to have tons and tons of Arctic and, no fungal or arid or something, or make the world super inhospitable, make tons of volcanic and not very much of anything else? Very fun. As well as over here, you can change, this is the template, so the ground underneath, so do you want like volcanic or ocean, but then you can say like how much of it is wetland or barrens or mountains and that kind of stuff. Very cool. So that's how you do the random planets. Now for the My Galactic Empire, what you'll have is you'll make a faction, and I have a faction made here. This is the Builders. This is a Devar, I believe Void Tech. I've already made this. I did start a game with them, but it just wasn't panning out very well. It wasn't ending up being very fun or very interesting, so I ended up deleting the planet, but I'm going to keep my faction because I quite like it. You can see, here's my my symbol. I just kind of wanted thematically for them to be like, they're called the Builders because I wanted them to be like reseeding the galaxy, strip mining the planets they can find, and then rebuilding the Devar Empire out of it. So I thought that was kind of cool. So in the Hall of Heroes here, you can see that I have Digracian Mountain Mover. By the way, my name is Gracian. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the series. If you haven't been here before, then I would suggest that you look through my other series to see if there's anything else that you liked. I have another Planetfall series, as I mentioned, and I'll probably do some more in the future as well. So yeah, this is the only hero I've made so far, and I think I gave him... I think I gave him one of the vehicles to start with, which is cool, and Kleptomaniac, which I love. And I can recruit more heroes, and then these heroes will actually show up in the My Galactic Empire, but I'm not going to worry about it at this time. I really should. In fact, I might pause it and randomly make a few heroes, but I'll do that in a little bit. So what happens is when you conquer a new world as My Galactic Empire, you're given a choice of planets that, remember when I was showing in the make a new planet, just a random planet, all the different settings? Imagine if you sort of roll on all of those different settings kind of randomly, and you get these really interesting planets. So this planet has a penguin hive. Penguin hives are present. Those beaked villains got here first. So this planet is going to be filled with spawners that are sending out, I guess, dire penguins. I don't know. Unlocks relic taxidermied penguin lord. This could not be a weirder planet for me to try to explain how My Galactic Empire works. There's also a doctrine-based network. All players gain 5 doctrine slots. Secondary objectives will be each penguin hive destroyed grants you substantial imperial renown, and repurposed, each doctrine enacted grants you substantial imperial renown and experience boost. So what's happening is this planet looks like it's going to be quite icy. If we go to the advanced setup, we should be able to see, does it show? Okay, yeah, world size is medium, landmass is continents, world threat standard, NPC standard, world events on, AI passivity is standard. So this will be a 6-player game on this randomly generated planet that's going to be likely quite Arctic in nature and have these penguins spawning. I can't change any of the settings about the planet that I would normally get to change, like how much of it is volcanic or Arctic or ocean or anything like that, because the game has done that for me. Now, this is not my only choice. I actually have multiple planets to choose from. So this is Holodom, a complexity mild. So this one has high tides, land masses are minimal, and a data center. Transmission towers are common. Holopad pickups are common. So you can see it's editing the way that the planets are generated and the way you play the game by turning some of the settings up to maximum and some of the other settings down to minimum and putting all sorts of unique things on the planet. You know, having a planet like this, an icy planet covered in aggressive penguin nests, is such an interesting planet to try to conquer while in the company of all these other players working on the same thing. You know, similarly over here, you know, we've got almost no land. We have each water spawner destroyed grants you imperial renown. Yeah, so you can see there's high tides, there's all sorts of different things are giving you bonus to your experience because of those strange things that have been spawned on this planet. Let's see what this one has. So the penguin hive is apparently considered less difficult than the high tides modifier, giving there no land. And over here we have Zethare. And again, if you start up your own empire, this is going to be different for everybody. Everybody gets random different things. So this has pointless. This world features a great many military purpose satellites that can be repurposed with ease for use in tactical operations. Tactical operations do not cost any operation points. Oh my God. So as long as you have enough money, energy to spend on your tactical operations, you will never run out of points. You can spend as many as you want. That is insane. Obviously 1 per turn, but still. And again, more doctrine slots. Peace through power. Defensive packs will give you experience boosts and renown. And repurposed does, yes, doctrines you use. So there's just these this looks like almost like a shattered, abandoned, barren planet, which seems really interesting. So all these satellites floating around in the orbit make it really easy to use doctrines, but what's the point of doing that over a planet that's been kind of obliterated? So then we're back to start. So we have these 3 planets to choose from at the beginning that we can use. This one apparently is a moon of this planet, but has its own moon. I don't know how that's working. That's quite interesting. Very interesting. And so this Imperial Renown that I've been talking about is a new resource that you only use in this kind of playthrough, because what happens is on the My Galactic Empire is you have progression. So it carries over between the planets, so you can level up different types of factions, different types of secret techs, and gain access to new equipment and sometimes units and stuff like that you can carry over into other games and then pay a special resource called the Imperial Renown to bring that over. So I could be playing as a Devar Void Tech, which I believe is what Digracian is, and I can, pull equipment and artifacts and relics and stuff from other games into that game and have new options, which is really, really fun. So these are some of the things you can get. So there's so many. So let's see, where's the, is that penguin in here somewhere? Let's see. No, I don't see it. Taxidermied Penguin Lord. So yeah, here's a relic by conquering a planet. This relic is unlocked by conquering a planet with the following trait, Penguin Hive. And it unlocks a bunch of Amazon like animal units, it looks like, including penguins. Sweet. Dire penguins. If you've played Age of Wonders 3, then you should fear the dire penguins with their lifesteal that they have. I don't think they have them in Age of Wonders Planetfall, but in Age of Wonders 3, it was quite funny to go up against life-stealing penguins the size of a man. So let's go back here and we'll conquer a new world. And so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go with the penguin one because it sounds hilarious. Let me just check the other ones. Yeah, these ones aren't as interesting to me as the penguins. So we'll do the penguins. We're just going to leave all of these settings the way they're intended. We'll leave it on 6 players. Select commander. So we'll go ahead and go with our Digracian mountain mover, our Devar, level 1 Devar Void Tech hero with a vehicle, kleptomaniac, and it looks like the economy bonus to research. Oh yeah, right here. Merchant Scion. Decreased economy research by 15%. Dwelling trading is 10% cheaper. I love buying stuff from the dwellings, from the minor factions, like spending your influence to get units and mods and stuff from the different minor factions. I really love that. So for that reason, I often pick Merchant Scion, but not all the time. But I really love spending influence to get units and all that cool stuff. I've got the Devar Assault Vehicle. Your Bulwark is your greatest creation, so we'll start with piloting and vitality and a Bulwark, which is the mech that walks around with guns for arms. We didn't pick a colony supplement because we didn't have enough points, and we went with Kleptomaniac, so we steal 10 energy from our Empire every turn, so our income is lower, but we get a random mod that works with our loadout. So this is a negative trait that I've chosen because it gave me a point, so that I could spend, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 points. I think you have 3 points to start, and I spent 4 and then -1, so it evened out to 3. So we'll go ahead and go next. Okay, so here's where we can choose requisition items with our Imperial Renown. So what we can do is we can requisition things like units, operations, and mods. You can see there's actually 1 slot for each, but you can unlock more as your empire gets higher level. So I can take a look at my faction and think, okay, I have certain strengths, I have certain weaknesses, so what could I pull in here that I might want to buy that could be sort of a help to our empire? So I think in this case, I might go with something like the Vanguard Trooper, very basic, but since the Devar use the kinetic, like firearms damage channel, a Vanguard Trooper would work okay with us because we'll have mods we can put on, like the rail accelerators to increase his range or something. So we'll go ahead and pull that over. So you can see we can pull over an operation if we want as well. So let's see, we have some really good choices here like Laser Strike. Localized Decay is fine. Cleansing Pulse. This one looks pretty good. It's got high impact and an AoE and can give them disoriented. So that's a pretty good one. So we'll take that one over. So this is one that wouldn't normally be available to a Devar Void Tech hero. This is not an operation we would have. And that's why we can't pick these, because we're already going to get these through our research tree. And we can go over to mods and we can say, okay, so what kind of mod do we want to pull over that would possibly help us? So we're not going to have biochemical attacks. We're not going to have sonic weapons. We're not going to have entropy. Psionic attacks are empowered with flame. Laser weapons have a strength, 12 strength chance to set targets on fire. Psionic attacks make units 20% easier to hit. Or arc weapons have a 12 strength chance to apply static charge. Now this is something we might be able to get because we have... No, we won't have this. So I know that there's that mod that turns your kinetic weapon damage channel into arc. So now we can use this mod with it. So we could put this mod on units that we've changed over to arc damage to give them a chance to apply static charge. So that's something we can do. So you can see this Galactic Empire allows us to take a faction and a secret tech and pull in some extra things from other sources to sort of round them out better. And then once we're in game, we can buy them with this currency called Imperial Renown that we can pull these units in. So we won't have these right off the bat. We do have to pull them in. And now that we have our requisition items selected, we are ready to descend down onto Spiritrise, the planet that's been generated for us, and try to conquer it. We'll go ahead and launch the game.
Consortia, you know that one has to dig deep to find true value.
Okay, we are ready to start. Make Planetfall. Okay, so we have landed. We've got our capital city here of, I can't see the name of it, Chimarosk. So we might change that. Let's just change that to Digracian Landing. Wait, no, Digracian Landing. Okay, so let's take a look at our starting stuff here. So we have our Digracian mountain mover here. Looks like we started with flechette ammunition, which is pretty useful early game, to be honest. That bleeding can really help. Oh, we started with a laser drone deployment. Oh my god, getting a drone deployment module early is so helpful. This is the kind of mod that you can use for the entire game. It's so helpful. We've got a basic grenade, which we'll look to replace pretty quickly with something else. It's nice to have that AoE stagger option, but not really the best. And we have our bulwark vehicle, of course. So we've got the auto cannons that do 14 kinetic damage on repeat and can bleed because of the module we have here. Grenade, we can concuss something to basically stun it for 1 turn. And deploy our drone here. We have some different resistances, but we have arc weakness because we are in a vehicle, and we have agile overwatch, which is one of the few units in the game that gets that. Normally overwatch means, if you run forward and go into overwatch, your remaining action points can be used to shoot on the other player's turn. Agile overwatch means that if you run forward and go into overwatch, you get all 3 action points during that, even if you spent some getting into position. It's really, really good. This counts as a battle suit. And yes, ground, mechanical, skirmisher, heavy. Okay, so we have no skill points to spend. We're just going to start with a Devar Echo Walker. So this is the unique Echo Walker variant that the Devar get, which instead of having the repeating Void Blade things, they have this Void Hammer, which does high impact stagger and knocks back light units, which is sometimes not helpful because you knock them out of the way of your melee overwatch. But you can also use it strategically to knock them away from your range units, like, say, your trenchers or something. And then they can make a copy of themselves, which is quite useful. So you can actually have 2 of these, and they can just smack people back and forth. It's a Void Tech unit, so this will be our Tier 2 Void Tech unit that we start with. We have our Foreman. It's one of my favorite support units in the game. They're very powerful. They can stagger in an AoE. They can heal. They can give somebody a motivation buff so that they can crit. And they actually have a decent punch because it has high impact stagger. And they heal units outside of combat as well each strategic turn. So this is a very, very good support unit. I've even played around with giving them a bunch of explosive mods before just for fun. And they're not bad. I mean, they're not attack units, so they're not going to be great. But it's pretty funny to give them a bunch of mods that support their mortar and have them run in and hit, blinding and setting things on fire with their explosive canisters. And we start with the good old Trencher, one of my favorite units, just a solid, sturdy guy with a rail gun on his hand that's meant for building things, but instead we're going to shoot it at penguins in this particular game. And we've got a shield, and they can make little trenches to hide in. And we start with 2 prospectors. We have this one here. These are our scout units, and they can prospect for free resources or just run them around and scout. So we have one of these. They can also toss a bomb, which does pretty darn good damage and can high impact stagger. That's sort of the Devar specialty, is explosives and staggering. Very, very fun. And so we start with 2 of those. We've got one in the stack with the army and then one that's free here. So you can see, if you've never played Devar before, when you've got a scout selected as Devar, you can see the sites you haven't prospected yet by the little pickaxe. So any of these places we go to, we can get some free resources. So probably start out with... We might go attack this army here. There's Imperial Standard underneath it, which will level up the army, and then we can send the scout ahead to there to prospect. So we'll do that. So we'll send this scout down here to prospect sector. And then let's just take a look at the map real quick to see what's going on. So I kind of thought there'd be a lot of ice on this planet. Oh my god, is this planet huge? This planet is enormous. Okay. So I thought, yeah, maybe it's colder up here or something, but I kind of thought there'd be more ice with all the penguins. But it looks like a fairly standard world so far. So right next to a couple of mountains. We've got some forest over here, Arcadian forest. Here we have Arcadian fertile plains, shrubland. So yeah, it looks like we've got a lot of energy and production around us, which is good for a military city for sure. And over here we have food, so our capital city can grab some growth areas, maybe an energy or 2, and then we'll settle somewhere else for a military city because we won't want to get production and energy in the military city. In fact, what's this do? 10 energy and 10 production, light units built in the colony gain +1 shield. So we definitely want our military city to include this particular sector here because we can have our pick of either extra energy or production, get this really nice bonus of both, and then our light units like our trenchers and support units will have a +1 to their shield. So this will be a great area to settle somewhere next to. So we'll have to grab that early. So let's take a look at our city. What do we want to build here? Seeing as how we have plenty of food and we have plenty of energy and production around, it looks like we might have trouble with science. So typically don't do this, but I'm going to grab the science structure in my starting city. just because I'm a little bit afraid that I'm going to be behind in research. I'm going to go ahead and put everybody into food until I get to the next level of population so I can grab my first sector. Looks like we have Paragon on this planet, so we can eventually pay them off to leave this thing and then annex it to our sector. In the meantime, we'll probably grab this one when the time comes. All of these stacks of neutral units, if they have a white flag above them, it means that they're going to pretty much stay where they are and just defend if we go in and try to take the area. If they're red, it means they're aggressive and they're going to wander around looking for things to fight. And they may be coming from a spawner, which will try to come and attack our cities and outposts and stuff. So let's head on over here and we'll take a look at this first... Ooh, teleported. Take a look at this first battle. This will be pretty close, so I think we might... They didn't offer to run away, so let's go ahead and do a manual for the very first combat just so we can play with our units and get a feel for how they are. Should be pretty easy with our commander in the bulwark with the flechette ammunition and agile overwatch. That's a pretty good recipe for success. I think I saw an Amazon huntress in their ranks and they can blind, so that's a little bit annoying. Nope, I'm making that up. There's no such thing. They have a biomancer. Ah, I see. And a lancer. Okay, I'm not too concerned about that. So what I like to do is start off with motivating my commander. That way my commander can crit. My commander's going to be one of the more powerful units in my team right now. So go ahead and move up to this cover. And we'll just go into Agile Overwatch because I could shoot now and get 2 shots. Or I could put myself into Agile Overwatch and get 3 shots once somebody activates it, which they will because they're already in range of it. They're not going to just sit there and let me shoot at them. Our hammer guys, I think we'll move them up to here and just put them in defense mode. Trenchers, similarly, I think we're going to wait to build the trenches until we know where the battlefield is going to take place. I think these Kiriko are probably going to run up and try to auto, but they're going to take a bunch of shots in the process. So this Kiriko unit is going to be dead for sure on my next turn. This Kiriko unit will likely run in... They could run to here and attack these guys, but that's why they're in defense mode here. And they have this rock helping protect them from range attacks over them like this. This Lancer will likely run into this area and throw a spear at these guys. And then the Biomancer will probably go in first and scan one of these 2 units, giving them all a bonus. We'll see if I'm right. If I'm right, everybody has to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move these guys up just a little bit. Move you up to cover. All right, let's end turn. Getting 3 shots, but I'm not hitting. Oh, got one. Okay, and bleeding. Oh, they're going to use the battle vomit. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, moving this guy up there made that a really juicy AoE target. Okay, they scan my commander. These ones are going around this way. Okay. Well, shoot, I guess everybody has to dislike, delete their comments, and unsubscribe. No, don't actually do that. So these guys can form their echo at 1, 2, 3 range. So I could run this guy over to here, make the echo here. Shouldn't have done that, actually. Okay. Oh, what do I want to do now? We're in a really awkward spot, to be honest, for this combat. I'll build the trenches, even though they're already behind cover. Not a great chance to hit. We'll shoot at that one. These guys have the bomb, but I might need to use the healing here. I've got a grenade, but what good is that when I'm going to hit my own unit? Let's stagger this one. It's stronger. Knocks them back. Now these guys get an odd opportunity attack, but it doesn't matter because this is a spawned unit. Now they bonked them over here, so now I can hit them back with these guys. Bonk. I could grenade still, but now it's kind of lost its effectiveness. So let's just shoot. Shooty shoot shoot. Shoot at this one. I'll finish her off. That's the most dangerous unit in the group. We've got one trencher that hasn't gone, so we'll put up our trench here. And try to hit these ones. Okay, perfect. Spike gun took him out.
Enemy down.
Oh, I can't see from here. I made a mistake. That's okay. Bonk. Staggered. Are you going to do something? Okay, they're confused. But they're spending their turn attacking our copy, which is really good. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Biomancer.
Unit down.
Okay. That's not so bad. We have... These guys can impact these guys with the bomb. Blew up the car, which should have done extra damage to them. Not sure if that was an explosive vehicle or not. Does it say what used to be here? No, only if it's a unit. I might have these guys finish off, because they can just use the one action, and then I can have you guys come over here and concuss these units so they can't do anything on their turn, and then we'll just sort of surround and bonk. There we go, took them out anyway. Okay, we got the Imperial Standard, which is really great. So that actually gave all the units in this stack a level, including the commander. So we're up to 8 out of 20 experience in level 2, which is quite nice. So we can head on into the level up screen here. Now, the Devar have some really fun racial abilities they can get, like Siege Master. All units in this hero's army gain +1 damage resistance of all channels while in cover. Well, spoiler alert, trenchers make their own cover wherever they want to go. So it's a great skill for them because now they just resist, 8 to 9% damage of all types now, which is really cool. Juggernaut allows me to walk through obstacles, destroying those obstacles. That can be very nice. Now, Void Bullets, range attacks ignore 50% of penalties from cover and units in the way. That's going to be amazing on our Agile Overwatch with bleeding ammunition. We want that for sure. That is a great level 1 right here. That's going to make this character very powerful for a long time until we get better vehicles to put him in. So now that we've taken that hex, what we can do is pop our scout unit out, prospect this sector, and then next turn we'll just pop him back in there and have our full army again until we build a unit to replace the scout. I do often like to early game build a quick, like a trencher or something, and then get this scout off going and prospecting, and then have a full army. It feels weird to level up the scouts, that part of the army, unless you absolutely need them as part of the army. They're not bad units in the army, it's just they're, it's better off as a scout getting me free resources. Well, everybody, it looks like we're actually all out of time for this first episode. I hope you guys will join me for the rest of this series. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, pulling over our different cool power-ups we have with our Imperial Renown. In fact, let's just take a look at that really quickly. You can see here we start with 50, and we can get more points by doing these objectives here, by enacting doctrines and by destroying the penguin hives. And so we can get more Imperial Renown, then we can spend it on unlocking the ability to build troopers, unlocking this tactical operation, or unlocking this mod. So a very, very cool system here. And then as we do these objectives, we get experience that levels up our faction outside of this particular planet. And then we have more things that we're pulling in to other games. So you're sort of like developing a galactic empire, and it's a really, really cool idea, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you, everybody, so much for joining me for this episode. I hope you'll join me for episode 2, and I will see you then.